Razvan coming to you again with another video. In this video, I wanted to read you a poem I wrote the other day to showcase my creative abilities and also my creative process. What what goes on in my head when I create, and to analyze it as accurately as possible. So first, I'm going to read you the poem, and I'm also going to add it below so you can read along. And then I'm going to analyze it, and then thirdly, I'm going to talk about the underlying process of this poem and the creativeness, so to speak, behind it. The poem is called "On the Sharpest Shore." So let's get to it. On this sharpest shore, sand and rocks bathing together, brushed by stars, toweled by comets, upon their embrace, the sun, the moon, melt together, forging in fire the cosmos's axis. Dances the universe, creating itself. Euroboric relief, endless cycle, life and death circle, stars burst, undulating time, waves upon waves on the sharpest shore. Um, so I hope you liked it. If you didn't like it, you can just comment below. I like criticism. I don't shy away from it. Criticism is what makes us better, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the critique of what I think. So first of all, sharpish. The word sharpish as an adjective means fairly sharp, but also as an adverb, it's a British slang, and means quickly, fastly, something that happens really fast. As you notice and you start reading it, you'll notice that a lot of my wording, sand, bathing, brushed, a lot of B's, a lot of T's, a lot of consonants, right? That are supposed to. I chose them purposely because I wanted to have this tonic feel, this almost earthy tones of creation, these underground and powerful material. The Jung called it prima materia, the first matter, right? Before elements are separated, this melange, this mix of things together, right? Um, so I use the word sharpish in this poem both ways, right? As an adverb and as an adjective. So what is the shore? What is the shore? What is the sharpest shore? The sharpest shore is the human life, is existence, is this cycle. That's why I opened and as I closed with on the sharpest shore. So as you read along on this sharpest shore, sand and rocks bathing together. So the first time I used a vowel at the beginning of the word was for the embrace, right? The sun, the moon. That's the first time I use a vowel. Vowels are a bit more. They're better sounding. So I wanted to kind of save that for when the sun, the moon, they're embracing together to kind of create this cosmos. Of course, we all know that the sun and the moon are only part of our little universe here. They're not part of the entire galaxy. They're not part of the entire universe, right? Uh, but but I use that in a to give it a more symbolic sense, like in a Christian sense, right? The way I used later on, I say dances the universe, creating itself Euroborically, and I refer to Shiva, the Hindu god that creates. He dances, and as he dances, he creates and destroys the world at the same time. And I wanted this poem to have that dual gnostic attitude, feel. Ouroboros, it's a snake eating its own tail, and symbolizes the perpetual, the eternal struggle, right? And as you notice, I said Euroboric relief, almost ironic, because it can be Euroboric relief. It's just a eternal struggle. So I use that as a almost like an ironic sense of the cosmic joke, right? Of existence, the perpetual life and death, and the destruction and creation, and all these things coming together and then you know uh, spreading apart. The sun, the moon melt together, forging in fire the cosmos's axis. Um, you know, uh, dance is the universe, right? All these things that I use movement, a lot of movement, a lot of dancing, and things are moving, just like life is, right? Uh, the Emile Cioran, the French Romanian philosopher, said that time and movement are human inventions. For the watchman, there is no difference in hours. Eternity is present, absurd and cruel in your face. So I wanted to use that here. I wanted to be. That's why I had no ands or buts or anything like that. I wanted to be the words. I wanted to almost to be like just rough and no connection between words. To have this feeling of uh, complete massa obscura, massa confusa, prima materia. It's a play on words and also a nursery rhyme. It's almost like children's play at the same time, right? And at the same time, I use the word sharpish to give it a more a British a British feeling to it because my English is not my first language. Romanian is, and I also speak Italian. But because I wrote this poem in English, I wanted to be as close to its nature as possible. So that's why I use the word sharpish. It's that as the Brits say sharpish, right? So I wanted to kind of bring it close to the Brits through this word and this balance, right? If you read Hamlet, there is a quote from Hamlet. It says, "I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself king on infinite space," and this is again resonating in the poem, just as well as what Blake said. William Blake, he said, "To see the world in a grain of sand, to see the heaven in a wild flower, hold the infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." So again, I wanted to have that kind of feeling here in this poem, of destruction and creation at the same time, a dual sort of feeling. Um, the narration is present at all time. That's what it begins to own the sharp short. This is what is happening, and as you're reading it, all the verbs are active and all the everything is in the present tense. Because I want it to be now. As you're reading the poem, life exists as you're reading the poem. You exist as you're reading the poem. So I wanted to have this kind of atmosphere while you're reading it. So again, the poem has this multi-layer approach to meaning. It's not just one thing, but again, the duality. I wanted to accentuate the duality of it. Um, the gnostic duality of good and bad, but you don't know where. We don't know what's good, what's bad. It's a sort of perpetual creation of in this trickster game of the universe. And I also use air, water, all the elements here come together to form this struggle of existence. And doesn't only refer to creation, but also refers to human life. Like I said, it has a dual explanation. So now, in terms of the creative process, the way I came up with it, of course, I didn't think of all these when I was writing it. While I was writing it, I was just involved in the process of writing it. But and these ideas came about later. But I think there is a correlation between creating something and analyzing it. Jackson Pollock, the famous American painter, who created all this dabbling, all this complete confusion and complete of his work. Uh, I think that he was doing the same thing in the sense that he was creating and he was stopping at some time to analyze what he created, right? So I'm working the same way. And another thing, David Lynch in his famous book How to Catch the Big Fish, he talks about you have to go deep to catch the big fish. But I feel that there is more to this idea that David Lynch, he's got it, but he doesn't really. He calls it, but he doesn't really calls it out, right? He just concentrated on the idea. But when he says that the ideas are like fish, fish are real things, and I think ideas are real things as well. That's why you can't really, you're possessed by about an idea, or possessed by a creative process, and you should be possessed because, again, ideas, creative ideas are for me, and I think for at least for me 100% all the time, but for I guess that's how they should be, as a as a possession, and they decide what medium they should take. Like, I make paintings, I make films, I write, I do a bunch of things, and I don't decide what form that idea should take. The idea itself, it decides that through me, and I let it do that because the ideas, like David Lynch says, ideas are like fish. Fish have their own will, and you should let ideas to take their own free will. Don't force the ideas. Don't have an outcome. Try to be free. Try to not pinpoint it. Don't ideologically submit the idea from the beginning to an outcome. I believe in the freedom of the idea. This way, this is the pure creativity. This is the real creativity. The one that you let the idea speak through you, and you use your creative spirit, your artistic abilities to flush it out, to let it out, right, from your, as Jung calls it, from your collective unconscious, and then through the subconscious gets filtered to your ego, the archetypes, so to speak, right, which come from a past before us. So anyway, so this is my few thoughts. What do you think? You like it? You didn't like it? Just leave me a couple of thoughts below. And thank you very much for reading this, and thank you for all your support. And thank you for watching this. And have a good one. Thanks again. Have a good night. Bye bye.